स्टूडेंट्स, पिछले क्लास में पिछले वीडियो में हम लोग प्रैक्टिकल से रिलेटेड टॉपिक स्टार्ट किए थे. द फर्स्ट टॉपिक वाज द आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ गैस. दैट इज on the basis of the observations given, we will be able to identify which gas is involved in the reaction, or you will also be able to write questions related to observations, like what do you observe when such reactions take place. Then when the gases evolve, you write its observation, you identify it. In today's class, as a continuity for the practicals, we will study test of anion. That is the acidic radical, the negative radical or ion present in a salt. You have studied about the test of cation in analytical chemistry chapter. Now, if we will be able to identify one part, that is cation, and the another part, that is the anion, then together you will be able to identify the salt to be studied. So our today's topic is the test of cation. Test of anion, not the cation. Cation have been studied already. Test of anion, that is negative radical. Here one by one we will study the anions and their respective tests, observations on the basis of which we will identify it. Like starting from first part. Suppose we are identifying carbonate or bicarbonate ion. Bicarbonate ion, that is CO3 2 minus or HCO3 minus. Mostly we study for this one. Now you see, you have already studied that when dilute acid is added to a salt, then CO2 gas is evolved. So you will go through that observation only. So in first step, you will write here the procedure, what is going to be added. Second, what is the observation, and then the third part you will write its conclusion, its result, its inference. Like you see, in first part you see, that is dilute acid. It may be HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 or any other acid. Dilute acid is added to the salt in a test tube. In a test tube. Just we take a small sample of the salt in a test tube and then we add dilute acid to it. Clear, student? Now, what will be the observation? Observation. Just we have studied that CO2 gas is evolved. So how will it be written? We will write a colorless, odorless. Acidic gas is evolved. Acidic gas is evolved with effervescence. Effervescence we have studied in the previous topic, that is with bubbling, rapid bubbles will be formed. With effervescence, which turns lime water milky. Now a student, although this is used for the test of carbon dioxide gas, but it is also shared by sulfur dioxide. So what should we write here again? But has no effect on acidified on acidified potassium dichromate solution, which is orange in color. Now, what is inference? Now, like you see, suppose first of all, we write an equation Na2CO3 plus, suppose we take dilute HCl. The reaction is NaCl plus H2O plus CO2 gas. So, according to this observation, this test, the CO2 gas is confirmed. So, what is your inference? Inference, or we can say the result concluded, that is the gas is CO2. Hence, the anion in the salt is CO3 2 minus or HCO3 minus, mainly carbonate. So, question is asked in the similar way. Suppose you have to answer, identify the anion in the given salt. Then how will you write? Or what will be the given in the question? It will be given like this. When dilute H2SO4 is added to the given salt sample X, then a colorless, odorless, acidic gas is evolved that turns lime water milky but has no effect on acidified potassium dichromate. This will be the part of question, and according to it you will have to identify the anion or type of salt. So, according to observation, you have identified that the gas is carbon dioxide and hence the anion is carbonate or bicarbonate, or the type of salt is, it is carbonate, metal carbonate or bicarbonate. So, this is the way to identify the first type of anion, that is carbonate or bicarbonate. Now, the second part of it is, or we have to study here, the second type of anion, that is sulfite or bisulfite. Sulfite and bisulfite, that is SO3 2 minus or HSO3 minus. Again, this is also similar to that of the carbonate ion. Just one basic difference of their characteristic test will be there. Like you see, again you will see here, that is dilute acid, again similar to dilute acid like HCl, H2SO4 is added to the salt in a test tube. Now, this will be the procedure. Now, you will have to write its observation. That is a colorless acidic gas. Now, here this time we will not write odorless because there was carbon dioxide, but here it is, gas is sulfur dioxide. Acidic gas having a smell of burning sulfur is evolved, which turns acidified potassium dichromate from orange to green. Now, this was the test for SO2 gas, means now it is clear to us that what is the gas produced. Now, inference or conclusion, the result, the gas is SO2. Therefore, the anion is sulfite or bisulfite. Like similar reaction takes place. Na2SO3 plus again you take suppose this one dilute H2SO4, it gives Na2SO4 plus H2O plus SO2 gas. So in this way again you will be able to identify the anion present in it, or you can also answer the type of salt, that is it will be sulfite salt or bisulfite salt. So you have studied the second type of ion, that is anion, that is sulfite or bisulfite. Now the next anion is sulfide, that is S2 minus, sulfide ion. Again the similar. Actually in chemistry students all topics are related. In the chapter acid you have also studied all these things, observations, identifications, but as a separate unit we are studying the practicals. Sulfide, again dilute acid is added to the salt in a test tube. Now this is a procedure simply, and what will you get from here? Observation, a colorless acidic gas having a smell of rotten egg. A smell of rotten egg is evolved which turns, although this is sufficient to identify SO2 gas, H2S gas, but now we also give a chemical test here, that is turns moist lead acetate paper black. Like you see, suppose we take ZNS and here we use dilute hydrochloric acid for it. We can also use dilute H2SO4, but nitric acid is not used in the reaction because we will not get H2S, but in place of H2S we will have yellow precipitate of sulfur, because nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. So it is ZnCl2 plus H2S. Now this is the gas. Now so inference again. The gas is H2S. Therefore the anion is S2 minus, that is sulfide, not the sulfite, remember it, sulfide ion or sulfide radical. So the type of salt is metal sulfide. So you can answer for the type of salt, the type of anion present in the given salt, and so on. So that will help you in answering many topics. Now again student, the next ion is chloride ion, that is Cl minus. Chloride ion, Cl minus. Now here you see, that is, in order to identify the chloride ion we have some tests again. Now every time we will identify it, like suppose we take first test. Now in that case, as a first test, suppose to the salt sample add MnO2 and concentrated H2SO4 and then heated. That is, to the given salt sample we will add MnO2, manganese dioxide, that is the oxidizing agent, and conc H2SO4, then heated. Actually what happens here, if it is chloride salt, now what happens here, observation, in this part you see that greenish yellow acidic gas is evolved which turns moist starch iodide paper blue black. Now in this part you see that the gas is chlorine inference. The gas is Cl2. Therefore, the anion in the salt is Cl minus, that is chloride ion. Actually, how is the reaction taking place? Like you see, for example, suppose we have NaCl. It is heated with concentrated sulfuric acid. Suppose if temperature is kept below 200 degrees Celsius, the reaction will be more easier. But even if temperature is kept above 200 degrees Celsius, the reaction will take place. We will have this type of product. And this product on heating with MnO2 on heating, it gives us MnCl2 plus H2O plus Cl2. So this gas will be evolved. So in this two step the reaction takes place. Since the gas evolved is chlorine, hence the anion present in the salt is chloride ion. So we have used the first test or first method to identify the chloride ion. Now there are two more tests for it. Second, silver nitrate solution. Silver nitrate solution is added to the salt followed by few drops of HNO3. Now this is the procedure, a step. Now what will be the observation? This time if we have chloride salt, then here if there is a chloride salt, then silver chloride will be obtained as a precipitate. So we write white precipitate that is for AgCl is formed, which is insoluble in HNO3 but soluble in excess of NH4OH. So just you see, students, That is, if we are using silver nitrate solution to test and if the precipitate is formed, then we will further add ammonium hydroxide. If the precipitate dissolves, it means that it was silver chloride, and hence this is the test for chloride ion. So inference now anion is Cl minus. How is the reaction taking place? Suppose we have NaCl plus AgNO3 solution. It gives AgCl. This is the precipitate plus NaNO3. We can also take HCl for the test. So for the chloride ion, that can also be taken. Now this AgCl reacts with NH4OH, giving us AgNH3 whole 2 Cl plus H2O. This is soluble silver diamine chloride. The third test for chloride ion, student, is using lead nitrate solution. So we write here that add lead nitrate solution to the salt sample in a test tube. Test tube means the reagent for testing chloride ion this time is lead nitrate. Now what will be observed? So we write observation. White precipitate is formed. Which is insoluble in cold water, but soluble in hot water. Means when the precipitate is formed, then we will heat it and the precipitate dissolves, showing that precipitate is lead chloride PbCl2. Therefore anion is chloride ion Cl minus. Now here the next one is sulfate ion. Sulfate ion or radical. Sulfate radical we can write in better way. Sulfate radical SO4 minus. Now there are two tests for it. One using barium chloride. So we write here add BaCl2 solution to the salt in a test tube followed by few drops of dilute HCl. Now when barium chloride is added, then what will be the observation? This time when barium chloride is added and if there is a presence of sulfate ion, sulfate radical, then white precipitate is formed. Which is insoluble in mineral acid. So we have added drops of hydrochloric acid only to show that the white precipitate is not dissolving in it. Now what is inference? Precipitate is BaSO4. Now hence anion is SO4 minus. But if the white precipitate is formed in this dissolves in this case, there will be sulfite ion. Now the reaction is like, suppose we have Na2SO4 plus BaCl2. Now solution, we should react it within solution state. So we see here it is NaCl plus BaSO4. So this is the white precipitate. So using this observation, you can identify the sulfate ion in a given salt. You can also identify if in acid chapter you will have to identify sulfuric acid. You will have to distinguish sulfuric acid from other. You can also use this test. Second for it, add lead nitrate solution to the salt in a test tube. Test tube, salt solution in a test tube. Now observation. White precipitate is formed. White precipitate is formed, which is insoluble even on heating. Or in mineral acid, means which is insoluble in all conditions. Inference, precipitate is PbSO4. Therefore anion is sulfate ion. So using these two methods, two tests, you can identify that the salt contains sulfate ion or the salt is the sulfate salt, type of salt. If the question is asked what is the type of salt in it, then you will write for sulfate ion. Now the next topic is the nitrate ion. Now in this reaction you see the basic, although we can also use it by action of heat, because if there is nitrate salt, then leaving few exceptions like sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate, if nitrate salt is heated, then reddish brown acidic gas, that is NO2, is evolved. So first test, on heating nitrate salt except NaNO3 and KNO3. On heating nitrate salt, reddish brown acidic gas, that is NO2, is evolved. So this is the basic test which we use. It is the heating test, but this is not taken for the practical. Actually chemical test required here. So second, now in this case, that is conc H2SO4 is added to the salt sample with heating. Means conc H2SO4, if there is nitrate salt and conc H2SO4 is added to it on heating, it will give nitric acid, which will decompose to give NO2 gas. So we write here observation. Reddish brown acidic gas, that is NO2, is evolved, which becomes dense when copper turning copper turning is added to it, added to the mixture. So in this case, the anion, that is the inference, anion is nitrate ion. So we can have this second test to identify the nitrate ion. Now student, the third and one of the important test for nitrate ion is also known as brown ring test. Brown ring test. How will this step be proceeded? So what do you see here? That is, take salt sample, salt solution, not sample, salt solution in a test tube, add freshly prepared FeSO4 solution in equal amount, and then from the side of test tube add conc H2SO4 with the help of glass rod, Actually, conc H2SO4 reacts highly exothermically with water, so it is not directly added, but it is added dropwise through the wall. Now, what is observation? Brown ring is formed at the junction of the two solutions. So this is called brown ring test. Now it can be taken for the nitrate salt or for any for the test for nitric acid. Suppose we take nitrate salt, then by reacting with conc H2SO4, first of all it gives nitric acid and then it will give the test. Like you see, suppose we have FeSO4, ferrous sulfate, ferrously prepared ferrous sulfate, plus HNO3, that will be given indirectly, plus H2SO4 gives ferrous sulfate is oxidized to ferric sulfate plus H2O plus NO gas is formed, nitric oxide. Now here this is here it is. So this is 6, 3, 3, 3 are 9. Here 6 and 3, 9. Yes. 2, 6, 4H2O, 2NO. Now actually this NO gas, which is colorless gas, gets added to freshly prepared ferrous sulfate, and then it gives FeSO4.NO. This is the compound present in brown ring. The name of the compound is nitrosoferrous sulfate. One thing has to be remembered here, student, that in this case we always use freshly prepared ferrous sulfate, because if it is left over for some time, it will be oxidized to ferric sulfate. That does not respond to the brown ring test. So in all these cases, that is, inference is now anion in the salt is NO3. So we have studied all the anions generally given in the salt sample. So using this information and with the help of analytical test, that is the test of cation, you can identify the given salt in practical. You can also answer the theoretical questions which will form a certain part of your paper. It will be easier for you. Now student, I think you have enjoyed the test for practicals like gas, anions and so on. It will be quite helpful to you. Now if you studied properly, you will be able to answer it quite clearly, and if you like it, then you must like, share and subscribe our channel, as well as press bell icon to receive our latest topics, latest videos and latest communications made by us. Thank you.